Breaking overnight, a violent fight involving dozens of young people ends with a teen girl dead in Northwest Houston.
Yeah, police say that the case is different from most for one disturbing reason. KPRC 2 News reporter Ricky Munoz is live to explain this morning. Ricky.
Hey there. Now, this is the type of story that you sit back and you hear it and you're like, what did I just hear? A 13-year-old girl is now dead because police say a 10-year-old boy stabbed her. And that all happened right around the corner, right behind me. I'm gonna step out of the way. You won't be able to see it, but it's around on the right. And to my left, there's still blood on the floor. There's still trash everywhere. But let me show you what the scene looked like overnight. Take a look at your screen. Now, this all happened here at Quail Creek Apartments at the corner of Grove Street and Dow Road. Here is video from that complex last night. Police say they were called out here around 8 p.m. for what they describe as a large fight outside. Investigators say there was not a one-on-one confrontation. They estimate between 20 and 40 people showed up, mostly teenagers. In the middle of that crowd, a 13-year-old girl was stabbed. Houston Fire took her to the hospital, but she died. Police say a 10-year-old boy told officers he stabbed her. They tell us he lives in the apartment with his mother. Investigators believe this attack stemmed from something earlier in the day at a school because of the child's age. This case now enters a different legal space. Police say he's just old enough to face charges under Texas law. Take a listen.
You know, it's a 10-year-old. That is the minimum age of criminal responsibility in the state of Texas. So charges could be filed. That'll be up to the district attorney.
That decision now goes to the DA's office, and then homicide is still under investigating this incident. Of course, we're going to stay on top of this and keep everyone updated on air and online on click2houston.com. But for now,
as you heard, that 10 years old is the minimum criminal charges. That the age 10 is the minimum that they can actually charge somebody with a criminal crime in Texas. Now, here's a question: do you think that should be lower, or you think that's too young? But hey, at 10 years old, you definitely should be knowing right from wrong, and it's not right to stab somebody. But let's get over into this next video and see if they tell us more details.
This morning, a 13-year-old girl is dead after a stabbing overnight in an apartment complex in Northwest Houston.
Yeah, this happened on Grow Lane near the Northwest Freeway. That's where we find KHOU 11's Jalissa Garza live this morning. And Jalissa, have police said what led up to all of this?
Alona and Jacob, good morning. Well, police do say that there was some sort of large fight happening here last night. And when officers arrived, they found a 13-year-old girl who had been stabbed. And police say that a 10-year-old boy told officers on the scene that he's the one who stabbed the 13-year-old girl and is claiming this stabbing happened in self-defense. Now, take a look at your screen. We do have video of the scene last night as police were investigating. Police say officers were called here at around 8 o'clock last night after reports of a large fight outside the apartment complex. And as I mentioned, when they got here, they found the 13-year-old girl with at least one stab wound, and she was taken to the hospital where she sadly died. Now, as for the 10-year-old, police say he told them he stabbed the girl and that she wasn't alone.
Right now, it looks like that they're claiming that the 13-year-old was among about 20 to 30 people that came over and started assaulting people in that apartment, and that he stabbed her in self-defense.
Now, let's back that up. Look at his face when he said that.
About 20 to 30 people that came over and started assaulting people in that apartment, and that he stabbed her in self-defense.
Now, we gotta look at facial cues now. It does not look like he believes that. But let's keep going.
We're told homicide investigators spoke to witnesses and looked for surveillance video. Police say the case will be presented to the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Now, under Texas law, 10 is the minimum age of criminal responsibility, but any decision on charges will be up to prosecutors. Now, another important detail that police are investigating, whether this may actually be connected to an earlier disturbance among teenagers that happened earlier in the day. I'll have more on that coming up in the next 30 minutes. For now, reporting live in Northwest Houston, Jalissa Garza, KHOU 11 News.
It's a crazy situation. We got one more video to look at just to see if they tell us anything else.
And breaking from overnight, Houston police say a 13-year-old girl was stabbed to death.
And the person who claims to have done it, just 10 years old. Chaz Miller live for us on Grow Lane, south of 290 in Tidwell, with what this boy has told authorities. Chaz?
Rita, he told, according to police, he told them that he did this out of self-defense, and all of this, police tell us, stemmed from a fight at a school earlier in the day. That school, we don't know the exact name of it yet, but we were told by Houston police that this is a Cy-Fair ISD school where all of this started yesterday. The stabbing call, however, came in from this apartment a little before 8 last night. HPD told us 20 to 30 people were involved here, and that the 13-year-old girl was transported to the hospital where she was sadly pronounced dead. The 10-year-old was on scene when police arrived, they tell us.
You got a 10-year-old male that stabbed a 13-year-old. Of course, the minimum age of criminal responsibility in Texas is 10 years old. So the officers will be, or the detectives will contact the district attorney once they complete the investigation.
We've spoken to a few people out here this morning. They said they didn't see anything, but certainly heard a commotion. There is no more police scene here, but we do know that HPD's Homicide Division is investigating this. That's what that lieutenant told us, and that they are looking for people to talk to, as well as surveillance from this complex. Reporting live in North.
It's a crazy situation no matter how you look at it. But the question is it truly self-defense? Was he about to get jumped? Is that what he's saying? He was about to get jumped by multiple people and he stabbed one of the people to save his life. That's for the detectives to decide, and hopefully, for him at least, hopefully, if it is true, they can be able to prove it. But if he did it just because he was wanted to, or because he just wanted to fight, then he needs to go to jail. But let's get over into the AI breakdown to see if we can find out if they tell us anything else. But so on February 4th, a 13-year-old girl identified as Damaris, I might be saying that name wrong, I'm sorry, was fatally stabbed during the large fight outside of an apartment complex in Northwest Houston. So around 8 p.m. of the 800 block of Grow Lane, reports that indicates a disturbance involving around 20 to 30 people. The suspect is a 10-year-old boy who turned himself into the police and admitted to stabbing the girl. He claimed that he acted in self-defense during the altercation. So preliminary findings by the Houston police suggest that the incident may have stemmed from an earlier school-related conflict. The group of 20 to 30 people allegedly arrived at the location and began assaulting residents before the stabbing occurred. So the 10-year-old boy was initially detained, but has since been released to his mother pending further investigations. In Texas, the minimum age for criminal responsibility is 10 years old. The case is being reviewed by the district attorney to determine if charges will be filed. So I did have a question. So my question was, what would happen? What was the possible sentencing if the 10-year-old is charged? So if charged, the 10-year-old boy would be handled within the juvenile justice system. So of course he's 10 years old. As 10 is the minimum age for criminal responsibility in the state. Because he is under 14, he cannot be charged as an adult in Texas. Now, here's a question. Do you think that's fine? If a 14-year-old commits a crazy amount of murder, could he, or under 14, so 13, if a 13-year-old commits some crazy murder, is it fine that he's not charged as an adult? So his possible sentence will depend on whether the prosecution seeks a determinate or an indeterminate sentence. So what is that exactly? So a determinate sentence for serious crimes like murder or manslaughter, prosecutors can seek a determinate sentence which a grand jury must approve. So the maximum term is up to 40 years for a first-degree felony like murder. He would start his sentence in juvenile department facility before his 19th birthday. A judge would hold a hearing to decide if he should be released on parole, placed on adult probation, or transferred to adult prison to serve the remainder of his sentence. So the maximum would be 40 years, and then on his 19th birthday, the judge would decide on if he needs to be parole, probation, or if he needs to be transferred to another prison for an adult. So indeterminate sentence. If the case is handled without a determinate petition, the focus is on rehabilitation. So the maximum term, he could be held in a juvenile facility only until his 19th birthday. He must be discharged or released by the age of 19 and cannot be transferred to adult prison. A judge could also choose to place him on juvenile probation, which typically involves a strict conditions such as counseling, curfew, regular check-ins. Juvenile probation must end by the time he turns 18. So the boy claims self-defense, which will be a critical factor. If proven, he may not face any conviction, which is understandable. Under Texas Penal Code, I can't even, what is that? I never understand what that symbol is. 8.07, children aged 10 to 14 are presumed incapable of committing an offense. Hold on. Children ages 10 to 14 are presumed incapable of committing an offense. Prosecutors must prove by preponderance of evidence that he had a mutual understanding that he was conducting, that his conduct was wrong. Okay, that's a crazy situation. There's a lot of things for us to take into thinking about in our minds. But here's the question. Do you think, well, we have to wait for evidence to come out, but do you think it's self-defense? That's the one thing. And if it is self-defense, then he's fine. But if it's not, and they prove that it's, and they give out a murder sentence, what do you think will happen? Do you think he should be held in there until he's 19 and then released? Held in there and then on probation? Or just stay in there the full term to then turn into an adult prison sentence? There's a lot of things to think about, but let me know your thoughts on that whole situation, y'all. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. 10 years old, already fighting for his life in court. The question is, but it sounds like it could be self-defense just from how they talked about it, how the 20 or 30 people were going around beating up residents. If the 10-year-old truly felt that he was in danger, and he felt like he couldn't run away, then I can see him getting off on this for self-defense. But we'll have to wait and see, and then we will keep up with this. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said.